Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Campus Compass. My name's Adit, as you can see down there, and I'm going to be your host for today and for most episodes going forward. But in episode 2 today, we're going to be talking about something that's pretty popular among college students, and it's a popular thing on the internet also, and that is the college triangle. If you're watching this on a video platform, then you can see it on the right. If you aren't, then let me just describe what the college triangle is. So it's a basic triangle in which at the top vertex you have good grades, the bottom left vertex says social life, and the bottom right vertex says enough sleep. And the catch in college, and I think even in your work life and stuff, is that you can only choose two of these three. So if you have good grades and you have a social life, then you probably aren't sleeping like 6 7 hours a night. If you have good grades and you have enough sleep, then you probably don't have a lot of friends that you hang out with and stuff. If you have a solid social life and you're getting enough sleep, then your grades are going to take a hit. Okay. The catch is that you can have mostly only two of these and excel in only two of these. But of course, there are outliers. There's that 0.1% or whatever percent who's somehow managed to get all three of these. I don't know how they do it. I haven't done it. I think my two would be social life and enough sleep, because I am a kind of guy who probably doesn't think about grades and stuff too much. But interestingly, like my current CGPA, if you compare it to how much I study, how much time I spend studying, so like the input versus output, I'm actually having a pretty good like efficiency if you look at the input versus output. So in today's episode, I just want to talk about how I am trying to optimize these three sides of my college life, and some probably tips that you can use in your college life to try and optimize all three. I mean, it's impossible, okay, not impossible, but highly improbable to have like 100% efficiency in all three areas, but we try and we improve. And yeah, so let's start off with good grades, which I do not have. But so what I my mentality of not having a good grade is that even if I have like a 10 CG, my life won't be too different, right? I mean, I'll get a better job, I'll get a high paying job, I might have scholarships and stuff, but how different, like, would that make a real uh, impact on like my happiness and stuff like that? I figured out no. I'm probably going to have an upcoming episode solely on CGPA and why it's important and why I don't care and stuff like that. But for today, we're just going to talk about like some random things I do that help me have a better efficiency than most people. So if you think about it, grades mostly depend on exams, right? So it doesn't matter if you attend 85 classes or zero classes. What matters is how you do the exam, right? Now, this might be different for different courses. Some of our courses have an attendance component. So, like 10% of your grade goes to attendance, 5% might go to a project or something, and stuff like that. But if it's solely grades, if it's just exams and stuff, then it's a much better course than if there's like a continuous evaluation component. Why? Because you can spend 4 weeks doing nothing, and then 2 nights before the test you can start and probably finish the portion and syllabus and stuff and end up getting a okayish grade or a good grade. Okay. But if there's a continuous evaluation, you cannot slack off for 5 weeks and then just make this amazing comeback. You'll have to put in some sort of consistent effort throughout the weeks. Okay. So, if you have only exams, then that's the perfect course. Like, take such courses. But if you have an attendance or a continuous evaluation component, then you'll have to put in some amount of work every single week. Okay. Now, this some amount of work will actually save you a lot of time towards the end, like towards your end sems and stuff. Because if you're studying regularly, like through continuous evaluations or attendance and stuff, then you know stuff, right? Even if you're on your phone the entire class, at least some stuff is going into your ears, and some keywords and all you might understand, right? Now, if you talk about like projects, right? They're mostly group projects. So if there's 5 people, you can probably be the guy who doesn't do anything. But taking an active role in projects actually helps you in every course. Because, so for example, last semester I had a course called Graphs and Networks, and we had a presentation. And in that presentation, we had to select a topic, and I actually didn't know jack shit about that topic. But we did the presentation and stuff, and I figured that this was actually quite interesting, like the topic. So the topic was, I think, spectral graphs or something like that, and it was quite interesting. I mean, I think I bombed the presentation, but I got the marks, by the way. GG. But the topic was quite interesting, and then because of that, I started spending more time on that subject, and I think I got a bet. I think I got a good grade. I don't remember. I don't remember my grades also. Like most people are like, oh, I got an A minus in this, B minus in that, whatever. If you ask me, like any of my subjects except for like the worst subjects, I probably won't know my grade because I know for the worst and the best. That's it. The middle one's light. Also, light is a very interesting thing. Light basically means, um, how do I explain this in words? But light is like a Telugu slash Bitsian thing, Bits Pilani thing, in which like you don't take things too seriously, and it's like taking things lightly. Like, that's what it is. So if I say light anytime in the future, it basically means taking things not too seriously, right? So good grades. Another thing you should know about good grades is it depends a lot on the professor. So in BITS we have this thing called IC, which is instructor in charge, and that person basically determines how you do in the course. So like maybe flatter him or her a bit, like do some extra stuff, go to their chamber and ask some random doubts and stuff. But because this person controls 100% of your grade, he decides what grade you get at average, what marks you get in every exam and stuff, and even how much of your thing goes to attendance, how much percent goes to projects and stuff like that. So your instructor in charge, this might be different for different colleges, but in general, the instructor in charge basically has all the power in your course. Now, you might also have teaching assistants who give you marks for like individual labs and stuff like that. Being good friends with them also helps because they give you in case of continuous evaluation and stuff, the 10 marks that you get every week for like 6 weeks adds up to 60 marks, which probably might be 30 or 40%. So, getting a 10 every week depends again on your teaching assistant or your research assistant, whoever. So being good friends with them also helps. Okay, these are small things that I do and that you can do to get that grades part a bit up. Okay, if it's an MCQ exam, then I have like a dedicated video on my YouTube channel on how you can intelligently guess MCQs. Check that out. It works for most colleges. It worked in my course also last sem. I got like average plus 5, I think, in both quizzes when it was out of 20. I got, I think, 18 and 16 in the two quizzes, and I didn't know anything in those subjects. Okay, it is about Fourier transform and all. I still don't know what a Fourier transform is, but it was MCQ based, so I could just click. There was no negative marking, so I could just got 16 and 18 out of 20. So there are a lot of these videos on MCQ guessing and stuff. If it's an MCQ GG, but if it's a written subjective thing, then it's again very subjective, right? So if it's sort of, we have these things called humanities electives, where if it's a 10-mark answer and you write random stuff, you might just get 1 or 2 marks here and there if you don't know anything. Okay, if you know stuff, then of course write what you know and structure it and stuff like that. But if it's a 10-mark answer and you know zilch about that subject, write something, anything that you know about that subject. So a random example is that we had this electronics course in first year, and there was some complicated question about a MOSFET. MOSFET is some transistor thing, I don't know what it is, but it was something, and the answer was, I think, in terms of amperes or something. I didn't know anything about that question. So what I wrote in that answer is MOSFET stands for metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor. For this, I got 1 mark, okay, which is better than 0, right? Now, if you have negative marking, this won't work. Don't take this risk because, of course, you don't want to lose marks by just writing a definition or something like that. Even if it's maths, you can just write given blah 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 and then write the first 2-3 steps. You might get a mark or two, right? It again depends on your IC, depends on who's checking your paper, how rigorous it is and stuff. Another hack for like in general college exams is look at previous year questions, because it helps you in like 2-3 ways. One is you figure out what the weightage of every subject is, every chapter is. So if there have been the same 10 chapters for the last 3 years, you can look at those papers and see that okay, chapter 6 has usually 20 marks from it in an 80-mark paper. Chapter 4 isn't that useful, only 3 or 4 marks come from it every year. So that way you can also figure out which subjects, which chapters you need to study more, and which chapters are more important and stuff. Another reason they help is, especially in engineering colleges, these questions repeat a lot. So previous year questions, it might be a 4-year-old paper, but the same question, probably with different values and stuff, comes in, like they usually repeat. Okay, another thing, oh yeah, previous year questions also figure out if the same instructor was there last year as well, because that also tells you how they grade and stuff. Okay, so the average grade in bits at least depends and varies year on year. It depends on how well the students are doing, how much the average goes of the course total and stuff. But you can get a fair idea by looking at previous year questions on how tough the paper would be, what the weightage is, what chapters are, blah blah blah. So I guess that's pretty much it for the good grades part. So I do these things and I really don't study much, but my grades are not that bad considering how much time I spend studying. Okay, Now let's move on to social life. So if you want, so you can break down social life into like two three parameters, right? One is good friends. You can get good friends from literally anywhere. Okay, the best friends that I have on campus right now, I don't know how I met them. I generally don't remember. I just ran into them and they were like, oh, you're this. Okay, I'm Adit. Okay, yes, and then now we're good friends. Okay, but in general, if you want like a framework for better friends, a join clubs and societies. You might have frats if you're an American college or whatever, but they're like one of the best ways to meet seniors, meet people you're in your batch and stuff like that. And also you can bond over a common topic, right? So if it's a club about say entrepreneurship, I'm a coordinator of this club, but I joined this club thinking that there'll be other people interested in startups, probably other people building stuff. So you can then bond over this common topic that, oh, what are you building? I'm building this. Oh, did you hear about Paytm? Did you hear about build space, whatever, stuff like that. And then you have like this like-minded set of people who you can discuss and share stuff with. So clubs and societies is a great way. Another thing you can do is they have a lot of these WhatsApp groups, right? So I'm in the WhatsApp group of F1, DC Marvel, gaming, Spider-Man, and a lot of these WhatsApp groups, right? And again, you bond over a common topic, like for example F1. You might talk about how Verstappen wins everything, or how people are mad over Norris, or whatever, right? But you bond over something. Okay, the whole point of having a social life is that you bond over some topic. It might also be how bad your grading is, because let's not go there, but it might be about random stuff, right? You basically need one or two common things to talk about with people, and then they eventually go from like random person to acquaintance to friend to best friend to whatever, right? Now another aspect of a social life is dating, right? Now this is tricky because you don't really know, right? You don't know who's going to be there for the next 3 4 years. You don't know if it's just a fling or a one time thing, or you don't know if it's going to be like actual permanent stuff, right? My only advice to you is don't make irreversible damage. You know what I mean? And otherwise, if you want like help finding, then of course there's dating apps and stuff. I don't think you need my advice for that. But again, like find stuff to talk about, because if it's just about the physical stuff, then it's gonna get boring very quick. So find stuff you can talk about. Maybe again find common topics, and from those common topics, if you can find a life partner, that's like you've won at life. Okay. But in general, find common topics that you can probably discuss about, because then in the future, if you want it to be a permanent thing, you don't run out of things to talk about. It doesn't get boring. It's not like, oh, how was your day? Oh, it's good. Okay, how was your day? Oh, that was good. And then you just end the conversation there. No. If you can talk about, say, the weather, or if you can talk about Chennai Super Kings, then you can find someone who you can spend the rest of your life talking to. But if you want like a temporary thing, then it's just like a, you know, you get what I mean. Okay, this was a very weird topic. I don't know why I took this up, but yeah, social life. You can break it down into friends, dating life, and what else is social life? I guess parties and stuff. Again, that again comes from your clubs and societies, fraternities, or your close friends who you go on outings and stuff with. And yeah, another aspect of your social life might be like your relationship with professors and stuff, because this ties into your good grades thing. If you go to their chamber and ask questions, not do weird stuff. If you ask questions and stuff, then they'll have a good understanding that, oh, you're smart or you're interested in this topic. Now, the reason a lot of people do this at BITS is because you have something called a study-oriented project. But so this study-oriented project is basically given by professors to students, and it replaces one of your elective courses. So, for example, I'm in maths. If I do a study-oriented project with a maths professor, then I do not have to do a maths elective in the future. And usually the maths elective has a bad grading, whereas study-oriented projects usually get an A. Like you get an A by just doing research work. So again, having a good relationship and stuff with your professor is pretty useful. Plus, if they're doing some crazy research, you can also help, and your name might come in like a research paper. Or if you want to get into research, then of course helps. Some professors also have like really good contacts with alumni, because like maybe 10 years ago there was like a really bright student who was good friends with the professor, and now he's at Google or something. So that prof can maybe connect you with the other dude at Google, and you can maybe get a referral. You'd never know, right? One thing I want you to know is that you never know. So don't burn bridges, because the guy next to you might become the next, I don't know, CEO or whatever. So try not to burn bridges. Of course, there are people who are absolute pieces of shit, but you don't have to let them know that you hate them. Okay, just like be nice to them, be amicable or whatever. Don't cross the line, but don't burn the bridge also, because you never know the next dude who you hate who who you think is absolutely intolerable might become the next great guy, because successful people are somehow eccentric, right? In some form they're eccentric. So yeah, don't burn bridges. Okay, I think that's pretty much it about the social life. Now let's come to having enough sleep. Now, enough is a very relative thing, right? Some dude might survive at 3 hours of sleep, some dude might need like 12 hours. Okay, if you need 12 hours of sleep, like, all the best for college. But the key in sleep is to optimize it. Now, a lot of books, a lot of documentaries, a lot of podcasts and stuff are about this. Here's everything that I do. So I try I try to wake up at a certain time. So my ideal wake up time is 7 a.m., right? This is because I usually have classes at 8, and if I get up at 7, then I can hopefully take a bath, eat, and then dip to class at 8, right? But ideally, I wake up at 7 and go to class at 8. But I also have a fallback. My mom calls me at 8 from home. She calls me there, and 8 is like the last time that I can wake up, because I usually have 8 a.m. classes or 9 a.m. classes, right? The ideal time to wake up is, of course, 1 hour before class, because then you can wake up and then take a bath and then have breakfast and then go, right? But of course, ideal is never the case in college, especially. So I'd suggest at least half an hour before class, because then you can at least wake up, figure out what the hell is going on, maybe take bath slash have breakfast, and then go to class. Okay. Now let's talk about the night before. Most of us spend the last half an hour or 1 hour of our day on the phone. Okay, which is bad, which is pretty bad. There have been research articles and stuff that tell you that blue light is bad. You need to block blue light and don't look at it on the bed and stuff like that. But still, nobody listens because you need to be connected or whatever, right? One thing that you can probably do is turn on the like Samsung phones have like this bedtime feature, which is like at 10 p.m. the screen becomes yellow and like weird and stuff. You can probably do that yourself, because then the effect of blue light is reduced. I know you want to like stay on WhatsApp or Insta for like 20 minutes more, because it's the end of the day and it's been long and tiring or whatever. But if you do the yellow screen thingy, that reduces the blue light, and you might go to sleep faster, because I have a lot of trouble falling asleep. Like, I'll be lying on the bed, I'll be tired as hell, but I still can't like fall asleep. It's just that I don't know what the problem is, right? It might be the blue light, it might be not. I don't know. I generally don't know. Okay, but the yellow light thing might work. Another thing that I do is I have like the eye. I don't know what's called, like an eye cover thingy that they give you in airplanes and stuff. Because in Bits hostels, like Bits Goa hostel at least, there's like this ventilation thing on the top of the door, and light usually comes in from there. So if there's light falling on your face, it's hard to fall asleep. So I use that eye cover thingy. And this also helps because if there's sunlight, that also gets blocked, right? I don't cover my ears because I have alarms, right? If I cover my ears, then the 7 a.m. alarm is not going to wake me up at all. Even my mom's call is not going to wake me up because I can't hear it. Like, there is noise sometimes, but to a large extent, there's not much you can do about other people shouting in your dorm and stuff. The best you can do is tell them, like, bro, I need to sleep and stuff like that. But that sometimes doesn't work. So I don't use the earplugs thing. You might. Some people also tape their mouth because like some weird reason. But I have a mustache, so if I tape my mouth, then it's probably going to get waxed or something. So I don't do that either. Another thing for sleep is that I don't drink water or stuff like half an hour before sleeping, because there have been studies or whatever showing that if you drink water just before sleeping, you don't get sleep or something like that. So I try to not drink water half an hour to an hour before I sleep. There's like this ideal thing in which you eat only 3 hours before sleeping, water before 2 hours, and screens before 1 hour of sleeping. That's ideal, but nothing about college is ideal except the fees. But so yeah, at least try to like reduce that by a factor of three, right? So maybe 1 hour before sleeping you don't eat, half an hour before sleeping you don't drink water, and maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes before sleeping you don't look at the screen. Like, you probably read or you write down what you have to do for the next day or stuff like that, right? Just basically be off your screen the last half an hour or 15-20 minutes before you sleep. Now, your location and how you sleep and stuff also matters. A lot of people cheaped out in the first year while buying a mattress, including me. I bought one of those, like, I mean, not the bouncy kind, like the weird kind. But luckily, in my second year, first semester or second semester, a senior gave me his mattress, and that was pretty like comfy. It was like thick, so I just put that on top of the current mattress, and then now I sleep well. Okay. Uh, Pillows also matter. I need a pillow. I need like a big pillow to hug and sleep. Yes, I'm weird, but You do you, right? You might not need a pillow, you might need five pillows, whatever. Also, you might be a night owl, or you might be like a lark, early morning riser, whatever. You do you, there's no correct answer for this. But one weird thing, one random thought I had is, so this is while I was doing my internship, some dude was like, bro, I can't work at all from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. So I just thought that 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. in India might be some other random time in the United States, or in Bahrain or Bali or wherever, Singapore, whatever. So technically speaking, time is just a mental construct, right? Now you might say, oh no, I'm saying 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. because that's when the sunlight is most, or something like that. In a lot of countries, you don't have sunlight for a lot of the, like, for example, in Antarctica, you don't have the sun for 6 months. So are you going to be productive for 6 months? Okay, these are random thoughts that I had when he said, like, I'm productive from whatever time. But technically speaking, it's all about the environment that you're in. There's no such thing as, oh, I can't work from 3 to 8 or whatever. It's just that you don't feel like you're in a good environment at 3 to 8, and that's why you don't feel that you can be productive. But if there's a deadline at 8 p.m., you're obviously going to be productive from 3 to 8, because you need to finish that thingy and get it submitted, right? I don't know why I went to this random tangent, but yeah, coming back to enough sleep. So now they say college is like the best time of your life and stuff, so you might compromise a lot on sleep. What happens with me is around like 1 a.m., 1:30, I get like this random adrenaline rush at like 1:30. I don't know what it is, but at 1:30, I just feel like, okay, this is when I should be like grinding. This is when I should start that new business or whatever. And because the world is sleeping and I'm going to do this and stuff like that. But usually not a lot of it happens, because your willpower at the end of the day is like zero or negative, right? So you can't push yourself to do that new thing, because the new thing requires a lot of willpower, right? Starting a business requires a lot of willpower and strength and stuff, right? Which you don't have at 1 a.m. Why the hell would you have it at 1 a.m. when the day is over? So the best advice would be to just like make your mind shut up and just go to sleep. But I know that's hard. So I generally don't know how to deal with this. If you have anything that do write in, send me an email, YouTube, whatever. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this college triangle. This is everything that I am trying to do to optimize these three parts of the college life. Further episodes will be coming soon. Thanks for watching / listening, and stay tuned for more. GG's. Thank you. Bye bye.